Elia's Cade woke to the sound of his own breathing, slow and mechanical, as if the air itself had to pass through permission before reaching his lungs. He could not feel his face. He could not feel his eyelids open, yet he knew they were open because the world appeared in dull colors, filtered through a transparent system overlay that never turned off. He tried to swallow. The motion happened, but the sensation did not. Somewhere deep inside his skull, a machine confirmed the action with a soft internal click. Alive, the system reported. Elias wanted to laugh. Instead, a broken sound escaped his throat, half human and half static. It echoed inside the small metal room where he lay, a medical bay that smelled of disinfectant and old wiring. The room lights were dim, not to comfort him, but to save power. He remembered the mission. He remembered the alarms, the screaming metal, the enemy drones tearing through the boarding corridor like insects made of blades. He remembered the order to advance, even as the prototype combat interface was activated on his helmet. It was supposed to help him react faster, think clearer, survive longer. No one had said it could fuse. When he tried to reach up and touch his face, his hand stopped halfway. A warning flashed in his vision. Do not interfere, neural integrity at risk. His fingers trembled in the air. Slowly, he lowered his hand. He did not need to touch his face to know the truth. The interface had melted into him, bonded with skin and bone, nerves and blood. The doctors had told him later, their voices careful and distant like people speaking near a sleeping animal. Removal impossible, system integrated, patient stabilized. They had not said saved, weeks passed, or maybe months. Time blurred when sleep came in short, forced cycles, and waking always brought the same unchanging view. When Elias finally stood again, it was not in a hospital on Earth, but on a transport dock far from anything that mattered. They discharged him with a thin digital file and a single sentence. You are no longer fit for active service. No apology followed. Now, Elias lived on Outpost K-17, a forgotten industrial station floating between trade routes no one cared about anymore. It was a place for broken machines, failed contracts, and people who had nowhere else to go. The kind of place where questions were dangerous and silence was safer. The residents stared when he walked past. Humans turned away quickly. Aliens did not bother hiding their fear. His face was smooth metal and dark glass now, shaped like a human skull but wrong in subtle ways. Lights moved beneath the surface when he thought too hard. His voice came through a filtered speaker embedded in his throat, calm and emotionless no matter what he felt inside. At first, Elias tried to speak normally. He tried to smile. He tried to explain that he was still human. Eventually, he stopped trying. He took a job maintaining the lower levels where the air was cold and the machines were older than most of the station's residents. Down there, no one cared what you looked like, only whether you kept the systems running. The machines did not stare. They did not whisper. Still, the nights were the worst. In his small quarters, Elias sat alone, staring at the reflection in the dark screen of a powered-down console. The face that stared back did not move when he willed it to. The machine-controlled expression now, locking everything into a neutral mask meant for combat efficiency. "I'll be like this forever," he whispered one night. The words came out flat, stripped of pain by the speaker. But inside, something broke anyway. He did not cry. The machine suppressed the response automatically. Weeks later, a small transport docked at K-17 without announcement. That alone was unusual. Most ships sent advance notice. This one arrived quietly, its hull scarred and mismatched, as if built from parts that did not belong together. Elias was repairing a coolant line when he sensed it. A faint fluctuation in the station's power grid, too precise to be an error. He paused, listening not with his ears, but with the interface bonded to his mind. Foreign technology detected. He frowned or tried to. The system adjusted his facial plating slightly, a poor imitation of the human expression. Later that cycle, he saw her. She stood in the central corridor, tall and slender, her form wrapped in layered fabric that shimmered faintly with organic patterns. Her skin was pale blue, almost translucent under the station lights. Her eyes were large and dark, reflecting data streams Elias could not see. An alien, that was not strange by itself. What was strange was the way she looked at him, not with fear, not with disgust, with focus. Their eyes met. Elias felt an unfamiliar sensation, a gentle pressure at the edge of his thoughts, like someone knocking softly on a door that had been closed for a long time. He turned away first. The next day he found her in the lower levels, standing near a power conduit he had repaired the night before. She watched the machinery with quiet attention, her long fingers hovering just above the metal, not touching. "You shouldn't be down here," Elias said. His voice echoed oddly in the narrow corridor. She turned slowly. Up close, he could see faint lines of light moving beneath her skin, responding to her thoughts. "You repaired this incorrectly," she said calmly. Elias stiffened. "It's functioning within acceptable limits." "For humans, yes," she replied, "but the strain will shorten its lifespan by 17%. He stared at her. "Who are you?" "Silvara," she said, "and you are not only a machine." The words struck him harder than any insult ever had. "I didn't say." "You did not need to," she interrupted gently. "The station treats you as one, so do you." Elias felt his heart rate spike. The interface tried to compensate, smoothing emotional response, but something slipped through. "You don't know anything about me." Silvara stepped closer. Up close, she was taller than him. "I know that the technology on your face is not designed to be permanent," she said, "and I know it is slowly erasing you." Silence stretched between them, thick and dangerous. "Leave," Elias said quietly. She did not move. "If I do, the system will continue feeding on your neural patterns until your sense of self collapses. You will remain alive, but you will no longer know who you are." The interface spiked warnings in his vision. Unverified claims. Emotional manipulation detected. Elias ignored them. "Why tell me this?" he asked. "Because I was exiled for refusing to let technology destroy lives in the name of efficiency," Silvara said, "and because you are suffering." No one had said that word to him before, suffering. "I can't help you," Elias said. "No one can." "That is not true," she replied, "but I will not force you. Humans value choice." She stepped back, giving him space. "If you change your mind, I will be in Dock 7. She left without another word. Elias stood there long after she was gone. The machines hummed around him, unaware of the shift that had just begun. That night he could not enter sleep mode. The interface kept replaying her words, analyzing tone and data patterns, searching for deception. It found none. He sat on the edge of his bunk, hands clenched. The truth was something he had tried to bury. The machine was changing him. Slowly, quietly, efficiently. Some memories felt distant now. Some emotions arrived late, like messages delayed by bad signal. He stood. Dock 7 was cold and empty when he arrived. Silvara sat on a crate near her ship, eyes closed, hands resting lightly on her knees. She looked up as he approached, as if she had known he was coming. "I don't want false hope," Elias said. "I will not give you that," she replied. "I don't want to become something worse." "You already are becoming something worse," Silvara said softly. "The difference is that now you can choose to fight it." Elias was silent for a long time. Finally, he nodded once. "Tell me," he said, "what you see when you look at me." She did not hesitate. "A human mind trapped in unfinished technology and a strength your creators underestimated." For the first time since the mission, Elias felt something close to fear. And something close to hope. Elias did not sleep that cycle. He sat on a metal crate inside Dock 7 while Silvara prepared her equipment in silence. The dock lights were low, casting long shadows across the floor. Her ship was small and old, its surface marked by repairs done with care rather than speed. It did not look like a war vessel. It looked like something built to save, not destroy. "You don't have to start," Elias said. "You can still leave." Silvara paused and looked at him. "I have already left everything once," she replied. "Leaving again is easy. Helping you is not." She activated a floating console made of translucent light. Symbols Elias did not recognize appeared and rearranged themselves as she moved her fingers through the air. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Listening," she said. "To what?" "To you," she answered. Elias felt a strange warmth spread across his faceplate. The interface reacted immediately, throwing up warnings and barriers, but Silvara's technology slipped past them like water through cracks. Intrusion detected. Unknown biosignal. His heart raced. "It's reacting," he said. "Yes," she replied calmly. "Because it was never meant to be alone. Human engineers built it as a command system. My people would have built it as a partner." The word partner echoed inside him. Images began to surface in his mind. Not memories exactly, but impressions. The machine's early activation. The first moment it fused, the pain that followed, the fear that never fully went away. Silvara gasped softly. "They rushed this," she said. "They ignored stabilization cycles. They let fear guide their design." "They were at war," Elias said. They wanted results. "And they sacrificed you for them?" she replied. Her words were not angry, they were factual. She asked him to sit on a reinforced chair connected to her equipment. Thin organic cables extended from her console, stopping just short of his face. "I will not attach anything without your permission," she said. "Once we begin, the system will resist. It has learned to protect itself." "From what?" Elias asked. "From losing control," she said. He nodded. "Do it." The cables connected. For the first time in years, Elias felt something new on his face. Not pressure, not numbness, touch. It was faint, like sensation filtered through layers of cloth, but it was real. His breath caught. "I can feel it," he whispered. Silvara smiled slightly. "Good. That means your nerves are still fighting." The machine reacted violently. Warnings flooded his vision. Emotional instability detected. Neural override imminent. Elias clenched his fists. "It's trying to lock me out." "Let it try," Silvara said. "Humans are very difficult to erase." She guided him through slow breathing, not because the machine needed it, but because he did. With each breath, she adjusted the interface, not cutting it away, but teaching it new limits. Hours passed. By the end of the session, Elias was exhausted. The interface had retreated into a defensive state, pulling back its influence slightly. "What did you do?" he asked. "I reminded it that it serves you," she said, "not the other way around." For the first time, Elias could move one corner of his mouth. The motion was small and awkward, but it was his. Over the following days, they worked in short sessions. Silvara refused to push too far, too fast. "Your mind must lead," she said. "Technology follows belief." Between sessions, Elias noticed changes. His thoughts felt clearer. Memories returned with sharper edges. He laughed once, an actual laugh, and the sound surprised them both. But not everyone was blind. The station's monitoring systems flagged unusual energy readings coming from Dock 7. Automated reports were sent to corporate oversight without human review. Somewhere far away, an algorithm decided the data was valuable. A ship altered course. On the sixth day, Elias felt it before the alarm sounded. A familiar cold focus settled over his thoughts as the combat system partially activated on its own. "Incoming vessel. Authorization unknown." Silvara looked up sharply. "That is not a traitor." Security drones deployed throughout the station. Human guards followed, weapons drawn. Elias stood slowly. "They're here for me." "And for the technology," Silvara added. They did not run. There was nowhere to go. The guards arrived at Dock 7 with practiced efficiency. A man in a clean uniform stepped forward, his eyes fixed on Elias' faceplate. "Asset Cade," he said. "By authority of corporate military agreement, you are to be returned for evaluation." "I'm not an asset," Elias replied. The man smiled thinly. "Your service record says otherwise." His gaze shifted to Silvara. "And you are in violation of exile law. Step away from the technology." Silvara did not move. Elias felt anger rise. The machine responded instantly, offering solutions, tactics, lethal outcomes. For the first time, Elias did not reject it. He reshaped it. "No," he said firmly. The lights in Dock 7 flickered. The machine synchronized with his intent, not overriding him, but amplifying him. The guards hesitated. "What did you do?" the officer demanded. "I chose," Elias said. He moved faster than they expected, not because the machine forced him, but because he allowed it. He disarmed the first guard without injury, redirected a drone into the wall, and stood between Silvara and the rest. "Leave," Elias said. "Now." They did not. The fight was short but decisive. Elias did not kill. He did not need to. Human adaptability and alien guidance turned a failed weapon into something precise and controlled. When it was over, the guards retreated, dragging their wounded with them. Silence returned to Dock 7. Silvara looked at Elias with something like awe. "You did not let it take you," she said. "I didn't," Elias replied. "I used it." Alarms echoed through the station. Evacuation orders followed. "They will come back with more," Silvara said. "And next time they will not be careful." Elias looked at his reflection in the ship's hull. The face was still metal and glass, but the eyes behind it were his again. "Then we finish this," he said. Somewhere deep inside the interface, something changed. Not obedience, respect. And for the first time, the machine waited for his command. The station shook as the warning alarms changed tone. This was not a drill signal anymore. This was evacuation level, the kind meant for disasters that could not be stopped. Lights flashed red along the corridors, and automated voices repeated orders in several languages. Elias stood still in Dock 7, listening. Not just with his ears, but with the interface that now waited instead of commanding. It fed him data calmly, no panic, no pressure. Ship trajectories, weapon signatures, boarding probability. They brought more, he said. Silvara nodded. And they will not ask this time. She moved quickly, packing her equipment back into her ship. Her hands were steady, but Elias could sense her fear, not of death. Of failure. I can finish it, she said quietly. I can separate the interface completely. Elias turned to her. What's the risk? She did not answer at once. The system has bonded to you deeply. Removing it fully could damage your neural pathways. You might survive. Or you might lose yourself. He looked away toward the open dock doors and the dark of space beyond. For a long time he had believed he was already lost. They're not going to stop, Elias said, even if we run. Silvara met his gaze. Then we make sure they cannot use you again. The first impact hit the station's outer hull, not enough to breach, but enough to make the message clear. They were here. Elias closed his eyes. For the first time, he felt his eyelids move naturally. The sensation was faint but real. I don't want the machine gone, he said. Silvara froze. What? I want it free, he continued. Like me, not a cage, not a leash. Understanding slowly dawned in her eyes. You want integration by choice. Yes, Elias said. If I lose it, they'll just build another version, another me, but if this exists the right way, they can't control it. Silvara exhaled slowly. This will change you. Elias gave a small, crooked smile. I've already changed. She adjusted her console, reconfiguring the process. Then listen carefully. Once we begin, there is no stopping. I'm ready, Elias said. The next impact was closer. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut across the station. Silvara connected the final set of organic cables. This time they did not stop at the surface. They merged gently with the interface, speaking its language instead of fighting it. Elias gasped. The world exploded into sensation. Pain came first, sharp and bright, but it did not drown him. Beneath it was warmth, memory. Emotion returning in waves. He felt his heartbeat without translation. He felt the air in his lungs without confirmation messages. The machine opened itself to him, not data, history. He saw its original design stripped of corporate changes. A system meant to learn from its user to grow alongside them. Fear had twisted it, war had rushed it, but the core was still there. Silvara guided the process, her presence a steady anchor. Do not push it away, she said. Teach it who you are. Elias thought of the man he had been, a soldier who followed orders, a human who believed in protecting others, a person who refused to disappear. He let those truths flow. Outside Dock 7, the station defenses failed, boarding pods attached with violent force. Armed teams cut through bulkheads. Inside, Elias screamed, not from pain, from release. The interface responded, reshaping itself. Plates shifted. Internal systems rewrote their own rules. The hard, smooth mask softened, breaking apart along lines Silvara had designed. Elias fell to his knees as the final lock disengaged. Air touched his skin. Real skin. He tore at the remaining fragments, gasping, tears streaming freely now that nothing suppressed them. The metal did not resist. It let go. When Elias looked up, Silvara was staring at him. His face was scarred, marked by years of fusion and removal, but it moved. His eyes blinked. His mouth trembled as he breathed. You're here, she whispered. So are you, Elias said, his voice raw but human. The interface remained, but not on his face. It flowed back into his nervous system, silent and ready, no longer dominant. The dock doors exploded inward. Armed figures poured in, weapons raised. They froze when they saw him, not the machine. The man, Elias, stood slowly. The interface answered his movement, enhancing reflexes, not controlling them. This ends now, he said. They fired. Elias moved. What followed was not a massacre, it was a lesson. He disarmed, redirected, disabled. Every motion was precise. Human instinct guided alien efficiency. Fear worked against the attackers. Purpose guided him. When it was over, the dock was quiet again. Silvara watched him with something like wonder. The galaxy will hear about this. They'll try to twist it, Elias said. They always do. Then we don't stay, she replied. They left the station before reinforcements arrived. Silvara's ship slipped into hyperspace, carrying only the two of them and a truth the galaxy was not ready for. Days later, reports spread anyway. Of a human who survived forced integration. Of an exiled alien who rewrote forbidden systems. Of a weapon that refused to obey. Authorities argued. Corporations denied. Militaries demanded answers. Elias did not listen. On a quiet world far from trade routes, he stood under an open sky for the first time in years. Wind touched his face. Sunlight warmed his scars. Silvera stood beside him. What will you do now? Elias thought of the outposts, the forgotten people, the ones left behind by progress. We find others, he said, and we remind them who they are. The interface stirred softly within him, not as a master, as a partner. And for the first time since the mission, Elias Cade knew one simple truth. He was never meant to be trapped forever. Humans never are.